Okay, welcome back for another video playing Ultimate General, American Civil War. We're going to pick up where we left off in the last episode. We're going to be defending this supply depot. Looks like our forces will be coming in from the west, and we're going to have to defend some supply depots. I believe this is them here on the map. Confederate forces will be coming in from the north and from the east. So, enough said, let's get started. Our supply depot is in danger of being overrun by rebels. The vanguard of your army moved quickly to reinforce it. Confederate forces approach from this direction. And this road. We've got a few skirmishers to send in order to delay them. You have at your disposal the small garrison of the supply depot. Surely not enough men to withstand all those enemies heading toward us. But the rest of your forces will not take long to arrive and join the defense. Today you can win a glorious victory for yourself. Hold your ground, General. Okay. It looks like we get 3 of our units that will spawn in, so let's think for a moment about what we could use. I think I want to probably bring in a unit of artillery. I think that would be really helpful. And then we'll have them focused on the north because they're going to come down from the north pretty much unbothered. But we're going to go ahead and put these skirmishers and this unit of cavalry in the east to handle those troops coming in. We'll go ahead and position these guys further up as much as possible so they don't have to walk as much. And let's get to it. Have them take a position. Let's get these cavalry over here. Let's make sure these guys are in a good wooded position. I think I touched on this a little bit in the previous episode, but you want to have your soldiers in positions where they're maximizing their cover. That's going to prevent the damage or help mitigate the damage that they take whenever they're being attacked. So that's why I moved them a little bit back over here. You can see kind of where they are at. There's a little bit of cover from the woods here, but then there's some open ground where they're not receiving cover, and you can tell that this is a more wooded area, and you can see the 2 trees on the cursor showing that you're going to get more forest coverage here. We want them to hold their position. Got some Confederate cavalry over in the woods to the west. We'll go ahead and take Wood's 1st Brigade here and just deploy them so that they're ready to face that if needed. We know Confederates are going to come down from the north, so we're going to get some men ready to handle that. We'll get these guys situated. Get our artillery moving a little further forward. Let's dismount these cavalry. When they're dismounted, they enjoy, I believe, better cover, better damage mitigation, and they're less vulnerable to small arms fire. Okay, here are the first Confederate forces coming in. We're just going to harass them a little bit here in the woods. We're not planning on full out fighting them. We don't, especially what we don't want to happen is where they're in the woods firing on us and we are firing from open ground. We want them to come into the open ground and then fire on them. We may have made an error here, positioning our skirmishers too close. It looks like they were immediately charged, which isn't great, because skirmishers will not do well in a melee fight. So we want them to keep falling back, outrun the charge. We'll have them mount up. It looks like our skirmishers outran the charging force. These guys are falling back, which is good. Got Johnson just riding around. Go ahead and get these cavalry a little bit closer so that they can start firing. Our men stop and fire. Something else worth mentioning is that your units will reload slowly while they are on the move, but they reload much quicker when they're standing still. I'm trying to get this cavalry as close as possible, because the closer you are, the more effective your firearms are going to be. Okay, that cavalry is just standing there. They're close enough to where we can open up with the artillery. We'll go ahead and move the skirmishers off to the side here. Okay, the rebels are too many, but your soldiers arrived just in time. Advance and secure the supply depot. Go ahead and move these guys up. Give these cavalry something to think about. Good. Artillery is opened up. We're going to move our skirmishers off to the flank here, so that hopefully they can, once this brigade moves up a little bit more, we can fire on their side, fire on their flank. Keep moving up our infantry. Let's keep our cavalry out of the fight for now. These will be really good at. These are melee cavalry. They're going to be really good at flanking the enemy or chasing down routing soldiers, but we don't want them getting into a 2-on-1 melee over here with this cavalry. Go ahead and have these mounted skirmishers fall back a little bit. We'll dismount them. One of the annoying things about these skirmisher type units is that they'll often take a volley and then retreat, so you often need to put them in a hold position order. Okay, let's see what's happening down here. Okay, we are firing on their cavalry. That seems to be going well. We've got our 6-pounders here. We've got our own cavalry here ready. Now these two brigades are going to be very ineffective because they're brand new. So you see they have a very low firearm skill, especially compared to scales. And we have our soldiers coming up on the eastern flank over here, so we will go ahead and take Richards out of the fortification there. Let's have Woods come up on the rear of this cavalry over here. This cavalry is just standing there, not putting up too much of a fight. Let's get them running. We need these guys in position as soon as possible. So I wasn't properly managing my cavalry over here, so they got charged on, which is not great. Looks like we're just out of range of these skirmishers, so let's advance a little bit to fire on them. We'll get General Trigger over here. Oh, nice. They're wavering over here, which is great. I think I touched on this in the last video, but you want to get these enemy units down to wavering and ideally routing, because the worse their morale state is, the less damage they're going to be able to dish out. And then when they're in a routing state, they are more susceptible to damage, and they can even surrender, as we saw a lot in the previous video. Let's see if this is the melee. Yes, this is the melee variant. So we're going to have them countercharge now that their volley is over. And we're still trying to harass this brigade down here. Let's bring back Richards. Oh, that's not good. Okay, they captured our supplies, but that's okay. We can get them back. We can even capture them with my general. But I mismanaged my my army a little bit there, and that's okay. We'll just bring up our own cavalry and we'll pick a fight with Whitehead and do what we can. Here we're being charged, so we want to fall back. They're falling forwards, straight into the enemy charge. Yep, we lost them. Let's go ahead and take our supply wagons back. We'll get these two out and in the fight. Awesome. We shattered that unit, which means they will not be coming back. Let's get General Trigger back over here to give these guys a morale boost. Walton's been taking a lot of damage. Not overly fond of that, so I might have them step back for a little bit and let Loomis take over on the fighting. We have our other soldiers coming in. We've got Woods moving forward. I'll bring up my artillery. Something that's really neat is you can draw out a path for your units to take. So units will move, generally speaking, faster along a road, which is very critical for artillery. So we're going to try to take that road as much as possible. Try to counter this incoming charge. And we will have these units come over here and take up this position. Seems to be holding pretty well because our eastern flank is seeing some trouble. And we're going to get Woods around to help support. We're getting Stockton around. We're going to go in. We're going to take a shot on their artillery. And then we might back out. Excellent. And we're distracting their artillery, which is helpful. Let's get Richards back up here in the fight. Artillery's taking shots, but we want our cavalry to go hidden, so that the artillery will then go back to. It'll take some time to turn around and face our forces in the front. We'll get these men situated. Let's get Morris over here. Artillery's still coming up. Great, great. Our cavalry is hidden. We'll let the cannon turn around. And then we'll have our cavalry come back out and charge into the backs of one of these artillery units. Skirmishers are still distracting them. Great, we captured an enemy unit. But I don't like that this unit is just moving through over here. We need to do something about that. So we're going to try and get a shot on their flank and get their attention. Let's have this artillery get into a firing position. We've got Stockton coming up. Looks like this one artillery battery knows that Stockton is coming. So we'll go in, we'll shoot them, and then perhaps charge into them, depending on what happens with B's brigade there. Great, got their attention. We're still farther out than I would like to be with this artillery. But that's okay. Okay, we're officially charging this battery. We're routing them off the battlefield. They should shatter any moment now. Now we're going to go take those supplies. Artillery is turning around. It's not focusing on Stockton anymore, which is great. That is our sign to bring him back. Get ready to attack the artillery again. Overall, I think things are going pretty well. All of our units are fighting, which is good. We don't want anyone's time being wasted. We'll go ahead and try to bring these supplies down. Put them to use. Let's get these 2 units over here. Straighten out that line so it's not getting flanked. Cavalry's doing great. We'll have destroyed 2 batteries. Bringing up Walton's brigade. Excellent. They surrendered, so let's bring them back. Keep moving these guys forward. Okay. That's what I was worried about. They turned around and shot us, but that's okay. We don't seem to be too much of a focus for them. Great. Another artillery battery surrendered. But let's get Stockton to fall back. And then we'll lead the charge into this last battery over here. Get out of there. Okay, we've got them routing. Excellent. Go ahead and keep the pressure on. Move this battery over here. Okay, as I was saying earlier, I really don't want to chase them into the woods, so maybe we'll just establish a defensive line here. Let Stockton clean up this artillery battery, and then I'll maybe have him move south here to help out with this fight. These soldiers are doing well. I want to move Morris a little bit closer and a little more on the side. Excellent. Another artillery battery surrendered. Let's bring them back. Yep, they're getting into a defensive position. Actually, let's go ahead and bring Loomis up on the flank here. We'll put Woods into a defensive position in case B comes back. And I would like for Stockton to have a moment to rest and get his condition back. Condition tells you the stamina or fatigue of the unit. The higher it is, the better. That means they're going to be fighting better. When their condition gets low, it's going to hurt their ability to fight well. So we always want to make sure that we're managing that well. So we've got these supplies here. Is anyone low on supply? Richard's 1st Brigade is a little low, so maybe we should try to get them some more supply. These 2 buttons down here will tell you who your supply wagons will give supply to. So I have it checked to give supply to our infantry, our cavalry, anything that's not a cannon, right? Our small arms. And then I have turned off supply cannons because cannons will drain you of supply very quickly, and as we can see, they still have pretty good supply over here. There's no reason to give them more supply at the moment. This one's getting kind of low, but again, there's still time. We've still got an hour in game time to hold out. In which case I might bring our captured supplies over here and use them. Okay, Stockton's had some time to recuperate, so I'm going to bring him forward now. want Stockton to get a nice shot on their flank, hopefully cause them to rout, and then we can have them charge in and mop up. So I've told him to hold his fire, and he's coming in. He's coming in. I want him to be as close as possible. He's starting to turn. Okay, open fire. Excellent. They're routing and shattered. Now let's get over here and get that last unit. We have somebody charging over here. Go ahead and charge both these units in. Excellent. They surrendered. Looks like B's. Oh, I was just about to say. Looks like B's unit has retired. It doesn't want to fight anymore, but they've come back. The other thing is, I want to find that unit of mounted skirmishers so that I can add them back to our side, but I don't know where they've run off to. Okay, I'm not in a good position here because I am not receiving very much cover, less than ideal. So I'm actually going to have Walton withdraw a little bit into this wooded area. I'm also going to go check that corner and see if maybe our captured cavalry over there also might have an opportunity to destroy this unit. Let's bring scales into those woods. On B's unit is moving up, so let's try to get on their flank. Let's move Loomis forward, make it harder for them to get a hit on us. And we'll move forward this artillery. Let's go ahead and take out these skirmishers while they are separated from that infantry brigade. Let's go ahead and charge in. Okay, B is focused on woods. That's excellent. Now we'll get Loomis to turn around and deal with that. Scales has unfortunately become distracted. We wanted them in the woods so they could fire on the artillery. That's okay. Bring up these units. Make sure these skirmishers are still harassing Ransom. Let's keep pressing them into a corner as much as possible. Woods is in good physical condition, so I want them to press on B. I would love for us to be able to destroy that unit. And I don't know what they did with our mounted skirmishers. What do you guys think I should call them? Mounted skirmishers? Dragoons? Mounted rifles? Rifle cavalry? I don't know. Ranged cavalry? I mean, I guess they are technically cavalry. I mean, they are cavalry. So maybe I shouldn't be calling them mounted skirmishers. Maybe I should just call them ranged cavalry or dragoons. Kind of like just saying dragoons. Great, we push them back. on Stockton. Oh, they're routing. Great. Let's get in position to do some damage. We want all these men holding their fire because when your units are in melee, they will also get hit by friendly fire. They'll get hit at a lesser rate compared to the enemy, but they will still take damage, and we want to try to minimize that, or at least I would like to in this instance. We'll go ahead and keep pressing on the Confederates up here. B still going strong. How are we doing down here? Problem is that my cavalry is very tired, which is hurting their ability to dish out damage. But this battle is pretty much won. Looks like there is not very much Confederate resistance to be had. Okay, we'll get Stockton to retreat because they've covered from their route. They're now wavering. Take off the hold fire, get Stockton out. Let's make sure Scales is on the flank there. We're hitting them from all sides. These men, let's bring them in. Let's get this artillery closer to B. Let's get this over here to resupply this artillery. Good, we're firing shell, which I like. And this is pretty much a done deal. If we shatter all of these units, the battle should end. So now let's just work towards that, see if we can't get an early victory. Got our POW camp over here. Restock that artillery. Bring these men up. Now, over here we're having a lot of difficulty trying to destroy this unit, and that is because they keep wandering into the woods, and it is mitigating a lot of the damage that we're doing. And these units are very, very tired, which is not helping our damage output. Man, not a whole lot to say here. We're pretty much done. Pretty much a wrap. Just mopping up. And our 2 supply depots are still in our hands, so we're doing okay. We're doing okay. That's one of the things that you do need to be careful about. Sometimes the AI will pull a really cheeky move where you think you've got them cornered, and then all of a sudden there's a unit of cavalry or a unit of infantry that slips by and they capture one of your positions, and that will mean that you don't meet the victory conditions. Maybe you get taken down to a draw, which is kind of annoying. So you can only do this kind of thing when you are very sure that you have the enemy on the ropes. Let's go ahead and bring Stockton in. Let's just get a pistol shot on them. Make sure that we're still engaging B as much as possible. Our artillery is set up and trying to fight. Let's just get as close as possible. Turn on our shot, and then walk away. Yeah, I'll go ahead and speed this up since we're just mopping up remnants. One more minute. I am very upset I never found those dragoons. No idea where they went. Anyway, we've won. We brought more soldiers to the fight, so that makes sense. Let's see. Casualty ratio was pretty good. Sort of almost like a almost five infantry we destroyed for every almost 1.5 that we lost. So that's pretty good. I don't believe this was one of our officers, but I am happy that our cavalry captain Stockton is now a major. That means that we can add more cavalry to that unit, and they will perform more effectively. There we go. Nice little battle reward there. And then before we allocate that point, let's go ahead and look at the first bull run and see how many men we can bring to this fight. Okay, we can bring 10 brigades. So that means that we could, let's go see, if we increase our army organization, it'll let us bring 3 divisions, 4 brigades. So we could do that. We could bring a total of 10 brigades to the next fight, right? This major battle. However, I'm thinking that bringing 10 brigades probably isn't going to make that much of a difference. Getting 2 extra brigades in that first battle of Bull Run, we'll be getting a lot of units that we can use that are going to be loaned to us, and I think 2 green brigades is just not going to make that much of a difference. So instead, what I think I'm going to do is put that point into logistics. And I'm going to do that because, as I explained in the previous episode, our shop has a multiplier And right now that multiplier is not in our favor, right? We're getting less than you know, we're getting less than a multiplier of 1. We're getting less than we really should be getting. And I want to raise that multiplier so that we're getting more weapons in stock and so that we are able to later on deck out our soldiers in better equipment. Additionally, this is going to give our soldiers more ammunition. That's marginally helpful. It's going to increase the amount of supply that we can bring into a battle, and it's also going to give us a resupply discount because after every battle you have to restock your supply, and that's going to cost you some money. So let's go ahead and put a point into logistics, and let's go into the armory, and let's buy up anything that we think will be valuable later on. So we're going to buy up these revolving rifles just because they're fun. They'll probably come in handy later. Same with these Lorenz. And these Springfields. That'll be it here. Let's go check out our skirmishing weapons. Yes, we're going to buy some of these JF Browns and some of these Sharps. These are very useful skirmisher weapons that we will be using later. Buy these Burnsides. And the Smith is quite decent. Let's see how it compares to the Sharps. And so what I'm looking at are these percentages because they tell you how effective your weapon is at what range, and also they're getting more information about fire rate, the damage, etc. And so actually the Sharps carbine is better in just about every respect. I think actually in every respect the Sharps carbine is better. So we might just buy up a bunch of them. Here we're looking at our cavalry. There's plenty of these Palmetto M1842, so I'm not going to worry about buying up those because they're always going to be in good stock. But I will buy these other carbines that are only usable for cavalry. I'm also going to buy some of the better melee equipment for them because later on we are going to be giving our cavalry this better equipment. Then last but not least, we've got our artillery, and I'm pretty much going to buy everything. I'm pretty much going to buy everything better than a 12-pound howitzer. I mean, there's some where their usefulness is probably not all that high, but I like having a diverse artillery, so we're just gonna buy up everything. And especially until we get our a better multiplier on our shop stock, artillery will be in short supply, and we're going to need to get everything that we can. And just looking here, trying to decide if I want to buy the Parrott guns. These are, in my opinion, kind of mediocre at all ranges, but these are pretty decent for new batteries, new artillery brigades, because they're just going to perform decently. They'll never be amazing, but they will perform decently at all times. So maybe I will buy them. And now we are left with about $56,000 left to spend. And we're just going to use that to get our troops in better shape. How much is it going to cost? That's going to be kind of expensive, and they still aren't highly performing troops. So I don't think I'm going to want to upgrade their weapons just yet. I am going to want to try to give them better weapons. So these 3 inches aren't bad. These Napoleons aren't bad. Let's see if he can even handle having another. Oh yeah, he would love to have up to 9 guns, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to give them the 3 inchers. Woods will hold on to the Napoleons. And I found out the reason that I can't go above 10 right now is actually connected to my army organization. This actually limits the sizes of your brigades. So we are going to want to increase this where possible because it's not only is it limiting the divisions that we can bring and the brigades per division, but it's also limiting our brigade size. And for right now, that isn't a problem with our infantry or with our cavalry, but it certainly is a problem with our artillery. And now we're going to want to get these brigades back up to strength. See here, you can see that I was up to 1,500 before. Let's see. I can assign just about however many soldiers I want here, and as you can see, the adding rookies is bringing down a lot of our stats, but I'm going to go ahead and bump this up to 1,600. I think the losses aren't too terrible. And we'll make up for it in the Battle of Bull Run for sure. Here, Loomis was sitting at probably 1,300. We'll give him a bump up to 1,400. And then with Walton, well, Walton is really quite good in terms of his stats. So I almost feel bad giving him so many rookies. Can't quite get up to 1,200, which is a shame. I'm going to get us up to about 1150, and we'll bring in veterans who will not hurt our total brigade experience too much. Because as you can see, if I bring it up too much, we lose out on this perk, which I definitely don't want to lose out on. Okay, they're still working to get to that second perk. We'll get there eventually, but we don't want him losing his perk. That would be bad. And these men, I believe they both came in with about 1,000. Let's see if we can get up to 1,000 again. Oh yeah, easily. I'm also looking at efficiency. I use efficiency to determine what is the threshold for when this officer becomes inefficient with them. And so you can see around 1150-ish, you can see that he really takes an efficiency penalty. So we're going to bump them up to about 1,100. And efficiency is a good stat. Efficiency pretty much means it pretty much acts as a multiplier, and it's going to determine in part your accuracy, your reloading speed, your ability to fight in melee. It's just sort of a multiplier that helps that. We'll go ahead and get Morris stocked up a little bit more. We're also going to bump him up to 1,100. Stockton. And here's another thing. I think I was saying this before, but you only get the veterans that you had wounded in battle. And so I believe that the way it works is in a battle, you'll get a bunch of soldiers that are wounded, and then they will move from the wounded pool into the veterans pool after your next major battle. And so as you can see, we have 151 veterans sitting in the pool that we can use, and you can see that their average stats. And most of the time, I'm going to be saving veterans for artillery. I feel like they're very useful for artillery brigades, and also cavalry and skirmishers, sort of your more specialized brigades. Whereas your infantry, here you saw me use veterans only because I didn't want to go down a brigade level and lose this perk. Um, but most of the time, you're just going to see me putting rookies into our infantry brigades because these guys are, for the most part, meat shields, and they're going to be taking a lot of losses. However, your specialized brigades, I think they should not be taking massive losses. And when you get a very high performing cavalry unit or artillery unit or skirmisher unit, um, they're going to uh, they're going to provide a very big bang for your buck. And so usually I'm going to put veterans into these units. And so I'm going to put us at 300 cavalry here, specifically melee cavalry. Oops, I wasn't keeping an eye on the efficiency. As you can see, although our main man here, Stockton, was just promoted to major, he still doesn't really have the ability to command these men well. And I was not tracking that. I was just happily adding men to make this unit more efficient. The other thing I'm going to think about is if I truly want him to be melee, or if I want to give him or give this unit these carbines so that they can be a little bit more effective and more engaged in the battle, but not have to run into melee. And I'm of two minds on this because I do think in this battle it will be more useful to give them firearms and just let them go up and shoot units in the sides. But at the same time, I would really like to get their melee higher. I mean, that's not to say that I can't give them carbines and then wait for a routing unit to run them into, but they're not going to dish out as much damage. They're not going to dish out as much damage, and I'm also curious how much. Oh, okay, so these cost the same. These cost the same. But actually, I am going to give him. I'm going to give this unit the carbines because we'll be dishing out less damage in melee, but I really do want them to be able to participate a lot in this upcoming battle, and I think they'll be able to do that more with carbines versus pistols and sabers. Let's go ahead and look at first bull run. And I did notice last time that the descriptions were similar in this screen and then in this screen. However, it looks like this one gives a little bit more information. So I'm going to go ahead and just read from sort of like the battle description rather than and from like the battle, I don't even know, preparation screen versus the campaign screen. So here we go. Battle of Bull Run, July 21st, 1861. Several miles to the east, the Confederate Army of P.G.T. Beauregard has deployed south of Bull Run River to guard Manassas Railroad Junction. From the other side, Brigadier General Irvin McDowell is leading the Union Army and is looking for a weak point to attack. The Confederate Army is stretched out to defend all possible river passages. Their left flank is vulnerable, and this is where the bulk of the Union Army is going to attack. At first, you are going to lead some of McDowell's troops in a decoy action at the Stone Bridge. Their mission will be to screen our primary flanking maneuver through Sudley Ford. Next, your army, backed by McDowell's main force, will launch a powerful attack from the west. The main objective will be to surprise and quickly overwhelm Beauregard's left flank before Joseph E. Johnston, Army of the Shenandoah, reinforces him. So essentially what they're saying here is we're going to be leading a diversionary attack over here. So there's a stone bridge. We're going to have some units come over here, act like we're trying to take this bridge so that we can cross, but then the main attack will be coming from the north. Looks like they'll be crossing a couple of rivers and then moving down south to attack the Confederate left flank according to this map. So yeah, well, we'll do that next time. Thanks for joining today. Really appreciate your time, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.